Hello and welcome back to the Captain Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we are back with another banger PulseChain video, giving you guys the latest and greatest of news. I'm also going to be giving you guys my updated price predictions for the core ecosystem here in PulseChain. TLDR, I'm still very bullish. I still believe in PulseChain. It has around 90% of my crypto portfolio, and I feel very confident in that just purely because of the fact that PulseChain is a leverage of Ethereum. More on that in a few minutes. So please do understand, if you are bullish on PulseChain, you have to be bullish on Ethereum. We are not a hedge of Ethereum, we are a leverage of it. So if you're looking at, for example, the price action, yes, we are down almost double digits on the core, and right now currently as we speak, Pulse, the gas fee token, is on a literally in the all-time low, which is of course very scary for a few people, but guys, this is what you expect, because once we zoom out, we understand that ETH BTC, which is one of the primary indicators, right? And same thing with the ETH dominance, because ETH dominance is very correlated with the just others total crypto market cap, which is effectively the altcoins, everything outside of the top 10 CMC rankings, excluding stablecoins. But yeah, you guys can see here, not a bottom in sight at the moment. We're very close to the lower all-time lows, local all-time low in that 2019 pre-bull run era, which does give us an indicator that, guys, we have not seen the first altcoin season peak. So keep that in mind. Yes, we've seen two great pumps around March to April last year in 2024, when Solana really had a great mini altcoin season, and we've seen another pump towards the end of pump October last year, where that's where most of the tokens here in PulseChain did amazing returns. Like I think PDAI and PWBTC were kind of leading that, doing a 20 or 30x in less than a month. Okay, it was pretty cool. And it's funny because I actually tweeted and I said we will experience some resistance, or there will be a resistance level at the 3 cent mark, and I said there is a chance that we could turn that into support level, but most likely not, because that's just how we've been moving. This is how charts move, guys. Okay, when you look at the Elliott wave theory, there's that motive phase, and it always comes with a correction, a retracement phase. But of course, what we've seen recently is more likely to be a reversal than a retracement. But we're going to talk about PDAI and its latest news. And do remember, before we move talk more about other stuff, I just want to give a reminder to people that we are in PulseChain. Okay, we represent freedom of speech. When I'm talking about PDAI, I'm just talking about the latest news. Yes, I will announce that I am holding a bag of PDAI. Okay, maybe I'm DCing here and there. Doesn't mean that you have to do that. I have my own risk to reward. I have my own risk tolerance. You have to do that based on your own risk tolerance. I'm not giving you guys financial advice. I never told anyone to buy any of the tokens. This is what I believe in. You can believe in whatever you want. My videos, at the end of the day, I want to share knowledge, guys, okay? Because I do believe knowledge is a precursor to making money. So my perspective is literally, my videos are how my perspective is with my thought process. Okay, my principles. I told you guys, becoming a disciplined trader. DCA in, DCA out. Take your profits, focus on getting your principal out, your initial, so that you can sleep at night. Okay, but at the end of the day, I'm very happy having 90% of my portfolio here in PulseChain, because the biggest risks in life is taking no risk at all. If I wanted certainty, I would just go in Bitcoin, but that would give me that diminishing returns that we were talking about, which is why I wanted to start off with this tweet. So I made this tweet yesterday just to show people PulseChain versus Ethereum. Okay, what really makes us different. Now I'm gonna not focus that much in the PRC20 narrative, because I genuinely felt like that was one of the unique selling points of PulseChain, is that we are not just a regular layer 1 fork solution of Ethereum, like BNB and Arbitrum. Is it Arbitrum? Yeah, I think Arbitrum and Avalanche. We're more than that, because we had the PRC20 narrative, giving people a chance to buy Bitcoin at prices back in 2017. That was a pretty cool narrative, and it became the world's largest crypto airdrop, right? But we're gonna, I'm not gonna keep mentioning that a lot, because that technically there's a lot of, it's very controversial to talk about. I still don't know what it means for PWBTC as well, but I can talk about in terms of my research that I've done, and I've done videos debunking it about the admin keys behind it. Because technically, if you guys didn't know, Richard Hart talked negatively about PWC in the Christmas video back in 2023. But look what PWC went ahead to do. It went from, I don't know, being like $40 all the way touching almost $3,000. So you can work out how many X's that is. I'm still holding my PWC. I believe in it very heavily because there was the PulseX farms, right? If we go to the PulseX V1 farms in the finished section, you can see that this is, guys, this is manually added by the dev team, by the PulseX team here. PWC, EWC. That's one thing that Richard Hart talked a lot about, where, hey, he wants to incentivize people to bring over their ERC20 copies, bridge them over, and then pair them with their ERC counterparts. So you have PWC with EWC, and of course, because you're pairing them, you're actually going to get them closer and closer to becoming the same level, which is, you know, parity. That's kind of the whole point of the PWC here, which is pretty cool. But yeah, speaking of that, I wanted to say that we're in a specific phase of PulseChain in general, where the INC inflation is literally has basically experienced equivalent to 4 Bitcoin halvenings that Richard manually changed the INC inflation, effectively disincentivizing all the liquidity providers from providing liquidity. Okay, so I feel like we're now moved on to now phase 2, because if you look at V1 liquidity, we're at an all-time low of 47 million in V1 liquidity. We used to be more than 10x that, guys, which is crazy, because back when we were up here in late 2024, we were 500 plus million, I think, at some point, including V2. I think it almost added up to be, okay, yeah, I was going to say it almost added up to be maybe 1 billion, because if we add the other DEXs that we have, like 9-inch and 9mm, and that put us, guys, for a moment, we were actually top 5 chains with TVL, by TVL ranking, which is pretty cool. But of course, now we don't have that ranking anymore. What does that mean? Why is this bearish? No, it's not. This is the next part of PulseChain, which is becoming lighter. Richard did this on purpose so that people basically pull out their liquidity from the farms so that we are lighter, because liquidity is a weight effect. We will require less capital for us to move upwards. Yes, it's a double-edged sword, because now it makes us more volatile. That means we can also go down with less capital required, which we've seen right now. Because if you look at the charts, this is PulseX. If we look at the USD chart, thankfully this one hasn't broken to all-time low, and we do have a support level here, so hopefully that will stop us from breaking any lower from that. PulseX is one of the most bullish core tokens, guys. You know me, I've been talking a lot about this. So yeah, even though the price is going down, that's just buying opportunity for me. Okay, this is what I've been trying to teach people the past year and a half plus. Okay, you have to rewire your brain. Don't be like the 95% of people that just want to follow the green candles, that want to just follow the crowd. Be the person that follows the information. Be the person that has the information asymmetry, because when you see stuff like this, you smell opportunity. When you see this, you see a glass half full. Other people will see this a glass half empty. Okay, it's the best analogy, but do remember as well, okay, this PulseChain, guys, it launched in the bear market, giving people like you and I, you know, potentially not the sharks or not the whales, giving you and I to keep accumulating in the bags that we believe. I have never doubted PulseX. Remember, PulseX is a better Uniswap. PulseX is native to PulseChain. Uniswap is not native to Ethereum. It's not the same team that created Uniswap. PulseX is deflationary. Uniswap is not deflationary. Okay, so PulseX will have that forever buy and burn, just based on people who are trading liquidity on the PulseX, which is the leading DEX for PulseChain, which is beautiful. Okay, so and that's basically what I covered here. I made this graphic, and let me know what comparison do you want me to create. I'll make a nice little graphic here so people can share it all around. So yeah, this is, you can see here, Ethereum is a cycle 3. Chain with diminishing returns, and people are labeling it as I misspelled returns. People are labeling it as a cycle 3 curse. Now, I don't believe that we're gonna it's really gonna stop Ethereum from hitting all-time high. Hopefully we're gonna see it over 4,000 plus in 2025, as I do believe we're gonna see Bitcoin. Speaking about Bitcoin here real quick, I am very, very bullish. I'm just gonna bring this label down here. I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, looking at the M2 supply with a 75-day delay. A lot of people put it on 70, some over 100 as well. So I'm going to leave it on 75 because yes, over 115, it averages out to be more consistent, but I want to keep it on a shorter so we can identify the short-term trend reversal, which I do believe, guys, we're almost aligning. So you can see this, we're very close to reaching that intersection point, which is on the 5th/6th of April. So keep that in mind. And at the same time, if we change this to the weekly candle, and then if we disable the global M2 money supply and then put on the weekly moving average, this is the yellow line, which is the 50 weekly moving average, which is what most people use for in bull run technical analysis. This is the 200 moving average, which is for just identifying that if we've touched the bottom or not. This is for bear markets. Okay, I'm not really looking at this, but beautifully we've been bouncing on top of that. So anytime we get so close to that 50 weekly moving average, just understand that Bitcoin is extremely undervalued. So for the people who are trying to trade or scalp, that is a really, really great indicator. This, along with the weekly super trend, monthly super trend is more macro. It's more for identifying when are we leaving the bull run, when have we reached the top of Bitcoin. So keep that in mind. The weekly super trend and monthly super trend are powerful in their own means. But moving back to it, just a quick reminder as well. Unfortunately, yes, we have seen all-time lows with PulseChain, but if you're ever in doubt, zoom out. It's not the reason because of what's happening with PulseChain. Yes, we also have, the FUD behind the PDAI stuff. And yes, we've also had whales, guys. Whales dumping and leaving. I'm not going to mention any names because crypto is a solar sport. At the end of the day, people can do anything. Okay, we represent freedom of speech. You can believe in anything. I will never FUD you just because you're not holding bags that I'm not holding. Okay, I'll never as well take time out of my day to try to FUD your bags. If I don't like something, I will just not speak about it. Can we just stick to that type of principles? Going back to Ethereum, as I said, the 7-day performance is down to almost double digits. So don't blame a lot to PulseChain being, potentially losing your trust in PulseChain. We need Ethereum to start moving up. Okay, that's just the laws of altcoins. PulseChain is an altcoin. We are not anywhere near in the top 10 to not abide by this. So keep that in mind. And a great indicator to look at is just the ETH BTC in that meantime. But moving on to the other chart here, we have the INC token, the liquid gold, which has now become even more scarce because, the rate of inflation has been reduced a lot. And that is very, very, very bullish. But at the same time, the prices are going lower. So you're going to ask me, if this is very bullish, why aren't people buying the dips? As I told you, majority of people are not wired this way. But at the same time, there's a case of people who are just out of buying power because of the DCA'd in a majority of that during this consolidation time, which I have in this box where I drew the buy zone, right, which is usually around minus 60 to 80%. So you can see that this is the minus 60 roughly, all the way down to minus 90. But right now, from local all-time high, we are at that minus 90%, giving us a price of, we are under $1.98. So we will see. We are experiencing potentially we might experience a support level here. Hopefully we're going to hold that. If not, I really do think that we might fall all the way down here, just depending until that reversal comes or not from the macroeconomics. But aside from that, I'm always bullish on INC. I think at long term, in terms of bullish, given the right market conditions, because I have to say this because I'm not a financial advisor, I do believe in breaking the all-time high. I do believe in breaking triple digits, and now anything more than that is really up to not luck, but at the same time, guys, I cannot predict a certain amount of X's. I can only give you odds, and that's what I feel like you can go by. Okay, what are the odds that this token will go up from here? We can never put X's to a certain thing because at the same time, you just have to look at the current market conditions. You need to have your euphoria territory, which for example could be if Bitcoin is over 150K, start taking profits per week. Simple as that. What does that mean? Turning your altcoins into stablecoins. That is it. But PulseX is one of those tokens that I'm going to hold for not just this bull run, for bull runs to come, because this is deflationary. Once it gets burnt, it's burnt forever. So looking at Gold Pulse right here, at PulseX, we've burnt around 6.81%, guys. And do remember, because PulseX is cheaper, the rate of burn, the rate of burning is actually higher. So we might not see the price increase because of the burning, the buy and burning. But do remember, when that reversal comes, PulseX is going to reach even higher highs. Not a lot of people know this. If we switch this to the WPLS ratio, look at this. It has been an upwards staircase, okay, even at these prices. So if you want a ratio trade, this is why I choose to double down on PulseX compared to Pulse, right? Because of that buy and burn. I believe PulseX is a 2x leverage on Pulse, the native, the coin of the chain. And we've actually touched 1-to-1 ratio, which was crazy because we used to be 1-to-4 ratio. And I do believe we're going to see a 1-to-2 ratio from Pulse to PulseX. So again, PulseX is a really good one. And right now with an extremely cheap price, $1,600 gives you 100 million, or equivalently $16,000 gives you 1 billion PulseX. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And we're going to look at the price predictions from this website here, PAMP, which uses the sacrifice funds. Now, if you guys didn't know, PulseChain had a sacrifice for PulseChain, and then it had another sacrifice for PulseX. That's the one that I contributed and sacrificed. I think it was 2022, I believe. And yeah, so far, what did Richard Hart do with his sacrifice funds? Which, by the way, we have no expectations from these SAC funds. Is he bought 171,000 Ethereum at an average DCA entry price of 3.7K. Now, at the end of the day, we're all humans. Anyway, everyone can make mistakes, and Richard Hart perhaps didn't do the best decision by DCing so early or at near tops, because we actually did have cheaper prices in that bear market, where it fell all the way down to 2.4K, and now obviously even better prices. But either way, here we are. I know for a fact that that's not going to be the top of the cycle, guys. I do believe Ethereum is going to hit 4,000, break all-time highs. 7,000 going to be walking in the park. And matter of fact, at 7,000 price label for Ethereum, this buying power will be equivalent to 1 billion. Okay, just to keep that into comparison, Avalanche, which was in the previous bull run, they injected 115 million in their own ecosystem, and it created a mini altcoin season. Guys, now imagine doing that with PulseChain with 10x the buying power. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's that. That's kind of our final resort, really. But I do believe PulseChain is going to thrive regardless of the sacrifice funds. I really do believe we have something very, very special here. So going back, just to summarize this graphic that I made, yes, we are 17% quicker than Ethereum, but that's not really something that people care about. Okay, non-native DEX, that's something that I think people will like, knowing that it's deflationary, the tokenomics. DEX tokens are not deflationary. Our DEX is deflationary. Ethereum, okay, they have an Ethereum foundation. Go look it up. They are notorious for dumping on people's heads, and at their worst times. They're dumping at all-time lows. So, literally reducing the confidence in the participants of the network, which is not a very smart thing to do. And at the same time, yes, they're dumping all-time highs, which you could consider, is a good or a bad thing. I can't really give you an answer, but that is a fact that it has happened. But with PulseChain, we have OA, the origin address, which has never dumped. This is a proven concept because there was an OA with HEX, the one from Ethereum in the last bull run, that literally helped get HEX, get HEX to do that 10,000x. OA has never dumped. As a matter of fact, OA has staked majority of its EHEX within 555, which is, I think, 10 years? Not 100% sure. 555 days. You can see that 93.63% is staked of the supply. Similarly with PulseChain, the OA has also staked. And then if you scroll down, that basically took down the T-share payouts per day from roughly 7.7 or 8 hex per day down to 1.7. So that's roughly a 80% slash of the payout, which, I do believe this is very, very bullish, because again, this is giving us a kind of a sign. So understand, yes, this means that the HEX payout has reduced, so people are less incentivized to stake, but that literally just means that we need HEX to go up a few X's for us to go back to those levels. So at higher levels, it will be as if nothing has really changed. And what's really cool is that, you know, PHEX and EHEX are literally becoming more and more scarce. So in the pools, across all pools, V1, V2, V1, and V3, you can see there's a total of 440 million PHEX left. Guys, that means there's only 440 more people that will ever be able to buy a million HEX, which right now it's a price of $4,500 to buy 1 million. That used to be, you know, at local all-time high down here, that used to be 30,000, guys, $30,000 to buy 1 million. And right now at this low, it costs 4,466 to buy 1 million PHEX. Crazy stuff. So yeah, I do believe in HEX as well. I think it was a really cool innovation. Now, I'm not going to say it's better than Bitcoin. Rather, I'd like to label it as the Bitcoin of DeFi. Okay, because at the end of the day, you know, one of the laws of power is to never outshine your sensei. We will always need Bitcoin to stay at number one. You know, it's kind of like the laws of instead of physics, but laws of the crypto. We need Bitcoin to stay at number one. We need Ethereum to stay at number two. The digital gold, the digital silver / oil. Okay. And if you guys didn't know, by the way, a 1000x from the all-time low of EHEX, or sorry, for PHEX, would be a $3.5 target. So we're actually only from that all-time low, we are only a 22% increase. So you're getting very cheap prices, guys. So anyone who's new to crypto, consider yourself very lucky. Very lucky, because there's people here who've been holding and DCAing. And now, you know, people who are new to the crypto, they're trying to time the market, which is something that Richard warned to do against that, because he said it's not about timing the market, it's more about time in the market, which I do believe it's good to stay there, because the longer you hold something, the less odds of making a loss decreases, basically. So you can see that from all-time low, once we set that, PulseX is only a plus 80% from all-time low, not even a 1x. Pulse right now currently at the all-time low, creating. INC is a 1.5x from all-time low. EHEX a 22.5 as we just calculated. So these are bargain, because guys, what you're looking in front of you right now, these are the blue chips of PulseChain. Okay, the most confident narratives is right here in front of you. But moving on to another one, which not a lot of people talk about. Some people even say that it is dead, because Richard has created multiple threads of tweets making sure that, hey, EHEX, nobody should buy it. Okay, basically saying, Ethereum was made, so people moved away from Ethereum Classic. Bitcoin was made, and people moved away from Bitcoin Cash. You know what I mean? And then he mentioned HEX was made, and then he's basically implying that people should move away from EHEX. You know what? I believe EHEX can be the greatest CTO story. I believe history can repeat itself, or it can often rhyme. I don't even need EHEX to go to all-time high. I just need it to go halfway through all-time high, you know, to a few cents. But currently, which by the way, fun fact, late 2024, we were as close, which is so crazy, we were as close as 77x back to all-time high. But right now, at this current price, we are a 358x. There we go. And from all-time low, let's see how many x's are we from all-time low. Roughly from there, it's just under a 1x. So there is that. Again, very cheap. And finally here, we're going to talk about the PRC20, that I guess right now is, a lot of people are kind of worried about what it means for PWBTC. I'm still very bullish on PWBTC. I've spoken about this. There's a couple of videos that I fully debunked it. I can make another one. But basically, PWBTC, no, it cannot be mintable. Even if BitGo, the people who found or created this protocol, even if they went rogue, they tried to come here, they cannot mint more. Just because of the way they designed the system is very decentralized, and I really I like the system. They have multiple roles. BitGo is nothing more than a DAO member, and they need, I think, 8 out of 13 seats to vote, right? It's a decentralized autonomous organization. They need 8 out of 13 seats to vote for a change in the contract. But aside from that, Bitcoin has no authority to even request a mint or even to mint, and they're not even the ones that are holding the one-to-one backed real Bitcoin. So how it works, there's actually a system where there's custodians, there's an exchange, there's a merchant, and there's the actual smart contract protocol that does the minting, but that's like, obviously that's permissionless, autonomous. And then obviously the user gets that wrapped Bitcoin after they submit real Bitcoin. So it mints one-to-one. That's how it keeps track of that number. This is why the current snapshot, when it happened in 10th of May, is around 154,000 Bitcoin supply, because that's what it was tracking at that point. So yeah, there's that. I love PWC, guys. What does it mean? You know, a lot of people talking about with the whole thing with PDAI. Now, the only reason why we're seeing this going down with the price of PDAI is purely because of that LP that we have with DAI, which we're going to check right now. So if we scroll down here, there you have it. I think it's this one with 174,000 in liquidity. And what's crazy is that you can see that it's actually very close. The ratio from PDAI to PWBTC is very close to real life ratio with EDAI and EWBTC. You can see that one PWBTC equals to 95,000 PDAI, which is very close, because look at this. In real life, it's one EDAI, or sorry, one WBTC gives you 82,000. So is this a coincidence? I don't really know. Hart's Law is pretty cool, man. This is why it was one of my favorite narratives. It still is. You know, I'll believe in it. You know, don't blame me. Like you can believe in whatever you want. I'll continue to hold this because, you know, it makes sense for the risk to reward ratio. How far are we away from parity? If we were to reach it, it would be around 468x away. So I'm very bullish on that. I do believe the next leg will probably, if we were to have that next beautiful leg, which by the way, the last time we had that was from September all the way to, let me quickly do this. Yeah, so we did a 31x in a matter of, okay, this was in 90 days, but if we did if we just do it from here, just to see how many x's was that. So we did a 17x literally in a matter of in a matter of 27 days. So that's the crazy part. So there is that. I believe in PWC. We're going to move on now. I just wanted to give a big shout out to this team here that are making a new blockchain scanner. Hopefully that's going to come soon to Pulsechain, because that's something that we are really lacking. The block scanner has been, a lot of people complained about this. Even Zach XBT, who some people requested for him to come over to investigate the whole PDAI stuff. Is it an exploit? You know, who is the person behind it? Is he really Vietnamese? You know what I mean? Etc. So yeah, here's a snippet of them using the you know, work in progress, and I believe it's going to be called. I forgot the name of the block scanner, but I'm very, very excited on that. I will keep you guys updated once it comes out, and it actually might be, they said it might be one of the fastest blockchain block scanners out there. So there's that, and it's going to have an Ethereum Etherscan like user experience. So I'm also very, very, oh, there's go. It's called Midgard. So yeah, there's that. So you know, we'll keep you guys updated on that. But now moving on to some PDAI news. Okay, now, hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just giving you guys the latest news. I want to hear your thoughts and discussions. If you do want to comment down below, it helps the YouTube algorithm push this video to crypto people who haven't heard of Pulsechain. So, you know, if they scroll down and they see, you know, civilized discussion, it's going to be a win-win for everyone. So remember, this is why I really like Richard Hart, because he said he wants to make the world a better place, and it starts with yourself. Okay, that's why I want to represent myself, as in I'm representing Pulsechain. People are going to be looking from the outside in. What are they going to see? Their first video might be my video. So I'm not here going to FUD anyone else. I'm not here going to say, you know what, it's my way or the highway. And I've seen a lot of hostility in the Twitter, which is crazy to me. But you know what? Let's actually start with that. I want to really start with that part. First of all, we're going to talk about this. Okay, there's a tweet here that says probably one of the most ignorant takes on the current state of this entire mess of PDAI LP would be a shame if someone paired PDAI to Solid X, forever down, forever extraction. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure on that Solid X part, but this is the comment here from Solid HEX, which is one of the largest PDAI holders maybe, or just in general one of the largest whales in PulseChain. Can you talk with the PTGC guys, which by the way, big shout out to them. They are one of the best examples for Hart's Law in PulseChain, and they still will continue to thrive because they're beautiful tokenomics that are fine-tuned. More on a video on that later probably. I already made a video on them as well recently, and I'm still very, very bullish on them. But of course, you know, the fact that they were tied with PDAI, they did bring them down. So again, to other people, that would be a buying opportunity. That's not a bearish thing. So yeah, you can see here. Can you talk to the PTGC guys and ask them to pull their PTGC/most and PTGC/pump LPs? These idiots still have 150k on PTGC/PDAI and 150k on UFO/PDAI. They are basically sharing the C word with pump.tires tokens, since they have burnt the LP with PDAI like noobs, which by the way, that's literally not a noob thing to do. You're giving people confidence, because now imagine if someone had the LP held, they can pull that literally any day. Like, I don't understand why that's a noob thing. That actually shows conviction, that shows commitment from the dev team. So there's that. The only solution is creating a new token like PTGC2 and UFO2. Otherwise, they will keep being part of the problem for a long time. Okay, this is absolutely crazy. Again, you know, blaming PGC because of the most and pump not doing as high. Listen, man, I think that's just another scapegoat, really. In my opinion, guys, listen, pump and most, yes, they're pump time memes that Richard Hart launched, but they still fall under the category of celebrity meme coins, which I don't feel like it's a real meme coin, just because of the fact that, you know, you're relying on Richard Hart tweeting about them. You're relying on the OA banks to buy them. You know what I mean? It feels like an artificial community, man. You know, so I like meme coins like, you know, MOG, like Pika, like DWB, for example, you know, even Teddy Bear, guys. I'm so bullish on Teddy Bear. It's just unfortunate, obviously, the recent news that we had with the Atropa dev, which, speaking about him, the Atropa dev who has gone rogue, completely don't know what's happening with him, you know, and recently he actually went ahead and minted like a whole trillion, wasn't it? A trillion of treasury bill, and then started buying Atropa to then sell it. It's absolutely crazy. But the weird part is that he is holding on to all of that. He bridged it over to Ethereum. He has around 613. He bridged it over to Ethereum, and he's holding it in the same wallet. So he's not trying to, you know, mix it away or trying to run away with, you know, trying to obviously, you know, extract it or whatever to a centralized exchange. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to keep you guys updated to see where this goes. It's just weird to me because he's doxed. And it's also weird to me because he acquired 3 billion PDAI, guys, and he burnt it with Atropa. And then, by the way, Atropa used to be mintable. I've spoken about this in the previous video. And he then later renounced the contract, so he can no longer print unlimited Atropa. So it's like, it's so weird to me. Like, he did all of these. You have to ask yourself, was he malicious from the start, or did he just change later onwards? And it's such a weird coincidence, and I know I mentioned this in the previous times. It's just such a weird coincidence with the timing of Richard Hart, you know, where he talked about, hey, don't label something to be a founder of, don't label someone to be a founder of something that they're not. And then now he's actually full on making like 30 plus tweets about PDAI, which goes against the whole risk diode thing that Richard talks about, where he says, you know, if I'm going to warn you about a scam, I'm just not going to speak about it. And now he's speaking about PDAI for so much, and he's saying, you know, stop buying PDAI, ? And now he's saying, you know, the stupid PDAI. It's crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. He has made it very clear that there is an exploiter. I'm gonna have to be very honest with you guys. Okay, so I will label PDAI as a high risk. I cannot recommend people to go onto PDAI, but you guys know my stance here. My stance is that I'm gonna hold my PDAI. I've done my DCAing based on my risk tolerance, based on my fresh risk capital that I chose, based on my, you know, just in general. I've segmented my risks allocation. I believe in the all core tokens, which is Pulse, PulseX, HEX, INC, EHEX, PWBTC, and PDAI. That's my belief. All I need is one of them to go to the moon so that I can make that financial the generational wealth that we're all dreaming of. At the end of the day, this is why we're here in PulseChain, a leverage of Ethereum. We're a cycle 1 narrative. That means we have the highest growth potential. Okay, so there's that. I don't need to sell PDAI. I'll never be shaken out of my bags. It's either gonna be okay. This is what I'm betting on. Okay, I'm betting on. Oh, there is a fix for the PDAI exploit. And then there's that, I positioned myself quite well. But aside from that, please be careful. This is a high risk. This is no longer a low risk PRC20 narrative. Please understand this. You have to know this. And I always said this, never sell your core or your main bags to jump into another thing, especially if it was a shiny new object. And of course, especially if it was a high risk narrative like this. But yeah, aside from that, going back to Decentralized Me, there's a tweet here that he has given us that I'm going to read to you guys, an update. It goes, let me provide more clarity on this. We've seen a lot of work on lending protocols and they are clearly intended to be reestablished at some point. PDAI is needed to reestablish these protocols, lots of PDAI. So again, he is warning us that we might see more minting, okay? And probably the flop auction itself could take some time until we reach that point, and depending on two different scenarios. The team behind this minting or this exploitation, they might have two solutions to, again, we're betting that they're benevolent. Okay, I can't give you a 100% answer if they are or they are not. Some people will say, look at the chain. It's very clear that they're minting and they're taking the money out of the chain. That is the pure definition of an exploiter. So I will have to say, we're gonna label them as an exploiter, and of course, my bet is that they are not malevolent, rather benevolent. But again, I'm here just literally speculating. Richard Hart, which is the founder of PulseChain, has said that this is not the case. We will see. Only time will tell at this point. Never in crypto did we have all the answers. Okay, because if we did, it would literally be at zero or at $1. So if you're going to wait until then, the trade-off is less gains to be made. Okay, so there's that. Do remember this. Keep that in mind. But this is what he had to say. There are two routes to achieving this. Post-peg uses the money printer to mint enough PDAI to place in these protocols. Pre-peg, if we see a raise in the debt ceiling and a deal loop initiated that increases the bad debt, we can expect a ramp up in PDAI minting and it appearing in these protocols. It's not clear which method he will choose. And again, he's saying he will. Who is he? Is it the one that shall not be named? I don't know. Choose, but we will get our answers soon. If we see the debt cleared going through to auctions and an accumulation of P maker, he's choosing to reestablish them post peg. No more minting. Exploit to be fixed by a new maker owner. And this is one of the theories that I am basically betting on, right? Is that we are seeing PDAI being sold, put back into the pools, and then the money being bridged out of PulseChain, most likely being mixed and most likely coming back into PulseChain to buy the PDAI, which, by the way, because if you look at the charts, in a weird way, we've actually been holding the support level quite nicely. You guys can see this right here if we put it on the 4-hour chart. And actually, let's put it on the 1-hour chart. You can see this. With every red candle, we would literally jump back almost immediately. Like, yes, this could be a lot of people just buying the dips, but personally for me, I haven't really DCA'd in a few, in a good week plus. So, I'm very interested to see like how the behavior of this chart really is, because there's a rapid decreases and then it follows up with the dip being bought. Like we don't see this behavior in the cores. You know what I mean? Like once it goes down, it just carries on going down for different reasons, obviously, because that one is just whales who are straight up have so much of the tokens. Unfortunately, this is one thing that I wish Richard Hart did, which was put a cap on the sacrifice per user, because we've had people, guys, whales who have sacrificed like, I don't know, what is it, like 10 million plus. We've had people, one user with 10 million plus. And now at these lower prices, which is the worst type of whale. The worst type of whale is the ones that are selling at the all-time lows, because they make the chart look worse. But the whale who is selling at the all-time highs or, on the way up, that's fine, because that's how you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed to break the chart. You know, like creating new all-time lows. You're psychologically messing with people's like brains, where now it's like, where is the support level? You know, they have nothing to rely on. Now it's kind of like a negative price discovery. So it is what it is at this point. You know, the best thing to do is doing nothing. You know, if you have your position allocated, if you believe in them, at the end of the day, you shouldn't really care about that price target, which is the same thing how I look at PDAI. I don't care about the price target right now. You think I'm like, if we were a 10x, by the way, which we are, I think it's a 20x to reach all-time high, back to all-time high, or if we are at this price levels, I can sleep like a baby at night, you know, because I believe in every single thing that I've held, that I've been talking about for the past year and a half, because I'm staying true to you guys and true to myself. You know, I have never doubted any of my bags. Never. You know, only time will tell. We have yet to see the first altcoin season wave. We have yet to see the second altcoin season wave, which is then what I believe we will then see the DeFi season 3.0, which hopefully PWBTC and maybe PDAI will be leading that, because this narrative has never been done before and it's only possible in PulseChain. So I hope, that's my bet, that PDAI can be fixed. And now on that note, okay, on that note, we're just going to quickly summarize this tweet. If we see the debt ceiling raise and the bad debt increase, an increase in minting and PDAI appearing in these protocols is what to expect. My message is, don't panic if he's going down the pre-peg route. All roads lead to stupid PDAI at $1 here. He's making fun, or he's referencing to how Richard Hart labeled PDAI. Okay, now moving on here, which Somi, big shout out to him, by the way, and I hope every single one who's watching this to not have any negative, negative impressions of Somi, because guys, people are literally labeling him because as if like he's the reason why PDAI is still alive. No, he's not. Our friend Somi here, he's not bigger than PulseChain. Okay, matter of fact, even Richard Hart. Richard Hart tweeted so many times against PDAI, but the people have literally, as we've seen, like they're buying back the dips. So PulseChain is even bigger than the founder himself. So you can't blame your friend Somi here. Okay, he has provided a lot of value, okay, outside of PDAI. And me personally, from watching Somi, countless of hours, me being on the cardio, you know, doing a little jog there on the bicycle machine, literally, guys, you know, this is coming from me as a person. Even before I started making PulseChain videos, I was watching Somi and learning from him. This guy's a legend. He provided so much for this community. Please respect this man. You cannot be as hostile and, you know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. He can believe in whatever he wants. We are PulseChain. We represent freedom of speech. So I really don't like these people, because I swear to God, once the prices go back to the green, all of a sudden, oh, Somi, you're one of my favorite influencers. No, keep the same energy when we are all-time lows. Like, it is so disappointing that people that have, gone out their way to go to those spaces and talk so negatively about him. Like, what do you want him to do? You want him to make a video and then give people financial advice to sell their PDAI when he never told people to buy PDAI in the beginning? Come on, man. You know, let him believe in what he wants. Anyways, we're gonna move on to his tweet here that says, "I've been planning this for my whole life." Guys, you're looking at someone who truly believes in something. Come on. You know, and I love this. I like it when I see someone who really believes in it. Okay, and everyone's saying, oh, you know, that's great, because this is one of the best signals. When you're contrarian, when you're no longer a majority narrative, that's when I know, hold on. The way I'm wired, I'm like, hold on. I'm doing something that the majority is not doing. This is where I want to be. I'm holding a bag that feels terrible to hold. This is where I want to be, because I know the bags that feel terrible to hold have the greatest gains. The bags that feel great to hold, you know, the ones that are green candle, all-time high, you know, going up already going up. You can expect less gains from them. Remember, the rocket ship takes off from the ground. Okay? Takes off from the low ground. Keep that in mind. The road to heaven feels like hell. I love PulseChain, man. I've been entertained. What a time to be in crypto. This is a history in the making. You watching this video right now, you're actually already winning, because you're not capitulating. A lot of other people, guys, and I feel bad for them, of course, this might be their first bull run. They are capitulating. They're selling their positions. They're trying to jump on the shiny new object. Oh, I've seen this in Sonic Chain. It's pumping up. It already pumped 100x. Let me jump on it quickly so I can do another 100x. No, that's not how it works. If you did it 100x, it's less likely to do another 100x. Diminishing returns. Okay? Early movers advantage. Information asymmetry. You're late. You're late. You're following the crowd. You're not following the information. So keep that in mind. Anyways, here's Sami, our dear friend, Sami, who's giving the best value, crypto value out of there. Yeah, I'll even vouch for him. 100%. He talks more than just about PulseChain. And he reminds people that everything can go to zero tomorrow. Crypto is a free market, guys. Unregulated. Every token has an element of risk. Every single token. So please be careful. Only invest with risk capital. But finally, going back to it, MakerDAO. This is the timeline, and I've actually kept this in mind a long time ago. I was like, hold on. Why was the snapshot taken at this time, and why was PulseChain being delayed? MakerDAO launched Spark Protocol in May 9th of 2023. PulseChain finally took the snapshot 1 day later at May 10th. And then it launched. Oh, actually, before it did launch. Next day on May 11th, PDAI was minted as a test. PDAI was minted as a test. And then here it says the next day on May 13th, PulseChain launched. So again, I don't believe in coincidences. Looking at this, it really does raise questions. Was Richard Hart actually purposely delaying the launch of PulseChain for a reason? I don't know. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. I don't know. And just keep this in mind, by the way. If we did end up fixing PDAI, we're gonna be retaining the legacy MakerDAO, which right now is being rebranded to Sky, which right now they're working on a centralized stablecoin, USDCS or something, whatever it's called, that has a freeze function that Richard Hart literally talked against with USDT owned by Tether, USDC owned by Circle. This is why he was very fond of the state-of-the-art. This is his words, state-of-the-art stablecoin that's algorithmically backed, that doesn't require a bank account. Guys, what a time to be in crypto. What a time to be in crypto. And then I made another tweet here just to give my honest thoughts about this. And I said, this is the possible fix to PDAI. And I feel like it might be a little bit too simple of a fix, but rather it's just something to propose here with a screenshot that this is Richard Hart, one of the screenshots that he shared, which was the supply chart of PDAI, which is so crazy because it was in the same tweet where he was negatively talking about PDAI, saying it's being inflationary. Okay, if you're talking about PDAI being inflationary, why would you attach the working DAI that's on Ethereum that's at $1 that has a clear inflationary phase that was followed by a deflationary phase and then a stability phase? So in my head I was like, hold on, is he okay, I don't know. He clearly said don't buy PDAI, or sorry, he said, what did he say? He said stop buying PDAI. He never said sell PDAI. Yeah, hold on, I'm joking. You know what I mean? Like, that's conspiracy, but keep that in mind. It really made me think. I was like, hold on, are we at this phase of PDAI where we're actually in that inflationary phase? We're expecting, hopefully, to see it become deflationary. This is why the system deficit, this is actually a negative number, it's not a positive, is at 700 something. It's probably right now 800. This is a future buy and burn for PDAI. If you guys didn't know, with the flop auction, that's basically how it is. It's gonna mint PMaker to incentivize people to buy PDAI, put it in, give it back to the contract, so that this smart contract literally burns that PDAI. So it's a buy and burn. Effectively, the contract wants it. It's a surplus. It's a negative. It's a deficit, not surplus. It's a deficit. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm very excited to see. And what's crazy as well is that near this peak, which is at 10 billion, if we compare to our PDAI that has a total of 25 billion, let's say, Richard Hart, which is suspected to have 15 billion of that because of the inflationary bug that was fixed, by the way, in 2023, which, by the way, it minted 15 billion PDAI, right? But guess what? Richard Hart didn't tweet about it back then. Why is he tweeting about this now? What happened? It's so crazy with the events, you know, the chain of events, guys. It really is crazy. There's a lot of questions out there. You know, we have more unanswered questions than answers at this point. It is what it is. But anyways, if you minus 25, minus 15, it equals 10 billion, which is weirdly close to the peak of the EDAI supply chart. And anyways, this is what I said. Vote to make the debt ceiling capped at 0. We don't need to create more vault/mint more PDAI. Supply should only be deflationary from here. Also, what does it affect PwC narrative? I already spoke about this and the fact that it's a USP PulseChain. We will see. But in more exciting news, by the way, if we move on to you know, just a few other tweets. If we look at USDT, by the way, this is the PDAI chart. You know, just showing us, you know, the all-time low right now. Could we be at an all-time low, or were we? Did we already experience the all-time low, which is down here? And why do I say this? Is because it seems like from the previous all-time lows, we had a gap between of 233 days. And what's weird is that exactly 233 days marked us at back there, which, you know what, we haven't been that low ever since. So it's so crazy that, you know, sometimes technical analysis does work, even on crypto. A lot of people say, oh, technical analysis doesn't work on crypto because it doesn't have enough volume. But I think PDAI is big enough where it does apply here. So it's very cool and interesting to play this. Some people say the chart never lies. So we will see. The chart never lies because this is on log, right? It's on log. And you can see down, it goes up, correction. Motive phase, corrective phase. Motive phase, corrective phase. But this is more of a reversal in my opinion. But it still could be corrective phase. It really could be. So right now we're minus 94% from all-time high. We shall see. When is the next leg up? If it will ever happen. Can't guarantee anything in life or in crypto. Guys, it's a risk. So please be careful. Do your own research. Moving on to a very interesting thing that has been unraveling in the past few days is that USDT is being filled up in the CRV vaults, I believe, or the balancer, the curve balancer smart contract. Again, I don't know how it works in detail, but that's being filled up with PDAI and slowly reaching parity with USDT and PDAI, which is so sick. What is going on? Because if you look at comparing it, by the way, if you caught the dip back here, which to be fair, who was thinking about it, right? But we all know that USDT, USDC, and PDAI were the three stable narratives that are very confident. But who actually was buying it back here at the major dip? It did a beautiful, guys. It did a beautiful what's the price that it did? 6x. That's basically a 6 or 7x actually. But where it is right now, if you compare it to the DAI chart, it's almost at parity. Look at this green wick. So that's what's happening right now. If you guys didn't know as well, USDC and DAI has been 1-to-1 ever since for 7 months plus. I think right now as well. You can see that this is a proof that proof at a smaller scale that the smart contracts behind the MakerDAO protocol, etc., are working. We have exactly the same line by line, the same smart contracts that are working here in PulseChain. We just need the oracles fixed. And yes, there's a few developers that are talking and say actually fixing the oracles now won't do anything. Matter of fact, confirm the death of PDAI, because all of a sudden the oracle is going to realize, hold on, all these vaults that were forked from Ethereum and all these vaults that minted from the exploit back in 2023, they're going to realize, hold on, these are all under collateralized. We're going to liquidate everything, and it's going to probably kill the whole thing. Like, I think it's either going to end up with even more mint exploits or whatever you call it, exploit, or it's just going to hyperinflate endlessly, blah blah blah. It's just not going to have enough, whatever it is. Okay, but we will see we will see how the events unfold. I feel like there's a few steps before actually fixing the oracle. And I did see, I think one of the MakerDAO developers, he did say that the oracle, the OSM smart contract, is agnostic to which chain it is. So he said, technically, you can just relay the same oracle price readings or whatever it is from Ethereum to give it to the one that we have here. So I don't know if someone's going to do that. I don't even know. I'm learning Solidity here and there, but of course, MakerDAO is, guys, one of the most complicated stablecoin systems. It really is the state of the art. State of the art stablecoins. I actually trust it way more than USDT, USDC. Okay, and I feel like we do need a truly decentralized stablecoin because we have stories like this. Look at this. School teacher Enoch reveals that he has 40,000 euros in a frozen bank account purely just because, guys, he got his 40,000 euros frozen. Guys, why? Look at this. He currently owes the state 79,000 in unpaid fines for contempt of court. And you can see here the bank account of teacher Enoch has been frozen by the Irish government after he refused to affirm transgender ideology in his school and address a child with they them pronouns. Guys, oh my God, we live in such a time. So this is why we need a truly decentralized stablecoin that does not have these absolutely centralized functions and authorities. Okay? Because at the end of the day, anything can be plausible. Anyone can come up with a plausible reason to get your, oh, you bought and sold this meme coin. I feel like you must be shady. Let's freeze your account. You know what I mean? Like, no, man. We shouldn't live in such a world to have that fear in the back of your head. You know what I mean? So I feel like we really do need this. And we're at the same time, we're keeping the best version of DAI, which is the legacy maker DAO, which is no longer even. It's literally going to soon probably be unsupported in Ethereum. So that could be one of the motivations behind Richard Hart launching PulseChain. Only time will tell. I can't comment any further on that. He made it very clear to stop buying PDAI. What else do you want me to say? No, I'm joking. I'm actually joking. He actually made it very clear. So please understand it is high risk, but it's just such an interesting time to be in crypto. PulseChain, if you're not here for the tech, you're here for the entertainment, you're here for the lore. I'm telling you guys, I might actually become an author. I might write a story about all of this. Nobody said crypto is an easy game. What an emotional roller coaster has it been. And only the winners will be the believers. We are in a believers only bull run. Welcome to PulseChain. We love you. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I'm going to end the video there. If you guys want to learn more about crypto operation security to make yourself secure from the different attack vectors, if you want to take crypto more seriously, and before you delve deeper in your journey, check out my course link in the description. Remember, if you are a YouTube member, you'll get that course 100% for free. So you can email me or DM me on my Telegram. You also do get an access to my members exclusive videos where we talk about the psychology of the market cycle. So, less about PulseChain and less about token specific and ecosystem specific stuff, more about the principles. Again, this is a little bit advanced for people who are new to crypto, but aside from that, big thank you to all the YouTube members who are choosing to support my channel. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure making these videos. You guys are absolutely amazing. Join my group chat, link in the description. It's public. Say hi, say hello, ask me your questions. Don't be alone at these high self-doubt times. We are experiencing high FUD, high depression. Okay, so again, big congratulations to you for watching this video, and I hope you leave this video more confident in PulseChain. But I just realized I didn't really give you guys an update on my price predictions, but it'll just leave it for the next video. Trust in the process and trust in God. Nothing will come in way of God's plan. Whatever is written, which has already been written, will happen. Okay, and I believe in something. Do you believe in something? Take care and bye-bye.